Hey, welcome to day 3 of my branding mini course. I'm so excited that you guys have made it this far to day 3 and are still wanting to learn about how important your brand is to be building while you are building a business online. So to recap a little bit, on day 1 we went through the 5 misconceptions of branding and what that means, and really just kind of what branding in general means. And day 2 we went over your purpose and your intention and how important that is to have that in place before you start putting yourself and your business out into the world. And now we're on day 3. And this is a really fun day because we're going to be talking about your brand story and how important that is. And one of the things that you'll hear me say a lot in my trainings and when I do lives and things is how important it is to understand that people are buying you, they're not buying your product. Okay, although they may need your product for some kind of for something in their life. If you're in health and wellness, maybe they need it for some kind of health issue. But we talked about in the last day was, why is it that people are buying your product over somebody else's if they have the same thing, right? And that's a lot of where your story comes in. So let's jump into this for day 3. All right. So what is one? Think about your daily life and think about as you kind of move through the world, what is the one thing that people absolutely love to do, right? And that is to tell stories. Okay, we are surrounded every single day by people telling us stories. We're hearing stories. We're absorbing stories. We're constantly being inundated with other people's stories, and we are also telling our own. And this is something that has been going on since the beginning of time, right? I mean, think about history and think about how people used to tell stories back in the day with drawing these beautiful pictures on the walls, and how we've taken that now and turned that into really learning about other cultures and other people and how they lived. And think about like in my husband's culture, he's from East Africa, and the elders are somebody that really are the ones who pass on these stories to the younger generations, through storytelling and really including them in that. And so stories are so powerful and people love to hear them. Think about when you're out with your friends, if you're at dinner, what's going on around the table? We're telling stories, whether it's just what happened during the day, we're talking about what's on the news, we're talking about a trip that we might be taking, but it's all storytelling. Okay, think about movies and how important that movies are in our life, and those stories and how we talk about that with people. So stories are really all around us all the time, right? Whether you realize it or not, they are there, and they're really kind of a fabric of our world. And so how does this kind of relate to our business, and how does this, get folded into this world of online marketing and business and building your network marketing company and all of those things? So let's talk about that a little bit. So when you're building a story, so I'm talking about now building an online presence, right? Because that's really what I'm passionate about, and that's really what I think that the world is moving towards, especially with building a network marketing business. Is a lot of people are really moving more into the online world because it's it's a place where people can really have their arms wrapped around a lot more people and make a bigger impact, Okay, and there's nothing wrong with doing things the traditional way, but I'm just talking about the online world as far as building a brand right now. And if you are doing things the traditional way, this all still is relevant in the sense of how you move through the world. So as far as being online, when you're telling your story, whether it's, through the pictures that you're posting or the quotes or the whatever you're posting online, you're telling a story to people, and you want to make sure that story, that there's something about it that captures their attention. Okay, make yourself stand out from everybody else that's online that's maybe doing the same thing as you, whether they're in the same company or they're in a network marketing company or whatever. But you just want to make sure that you're telling a story that captures the attention of your audience. Okay, it's so important. And by telling your story, it allows us to be creative, like an artist. Right? You can tell whatever story that you want to in the online world. You can be as creative as you want to. If you're a person that's very artistic and loves to use, whatever it is, or if you're like me who, I like to be as natural as possible because that's the way that my life is. However, I still can put a very artistic spin on it if I want to by, we talked about, using colors and things like that. You can put that artistic spin on it. But you just want to make sure that when you're telling your story online, it stands out from the rest of the people. Okay. Now, here's the thing with when we're talking about a brand story, it is so important. Think about the companies out there that are making a massive impact, and you buy something and you hear the brand story, and so you're just super compelled to go and tell your friend about it because it has this story behind it that you just think is so amazing, whether they donate money to a cause that you believe in, or they are doing work in a third world country, or whatever that might be, or it doesn't even have to be that dramatic. If it's just something that you really love the story behind it, if it's, a kid that is an entrepreneur and has put out this product or whatever, we're compelled to tell those stories to other people. And so when you're telling your story, you want to make sure that it is something that somebody is so intrigued by it and so, inspired by it that they want to then go and tell other people. Okay? So that's really the goal of your story, is that it really captures the attention of the people around you. All right? And then they're more likely to go and tell other people about it. Now, the biggest way that we are building a business, or the easiest way to build a business, is by word of mouth. Now, how many of you, are being taught, whether you're watching, Eric Worre, or you're listening to your upline or whatever, and they're telling you, if somebody says, no, I'm absolutely not interested in your business, what is the next thing that we're supposed to be asking people, right? We're supposed to be asking for a referral. Okay, and so how important is that in this world is, if you're asking for a referral from somebody, and they're going to go and tell their friend, oh, I met this girl and she's fabulous. This is, what she does. She's got this many kids. This is blah, 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 blah. Whatever your story is that you have told that person, they're going to then go and tell their girlfriend, oh, she's got this incredible product or this incredible business and whatever. Okay? That is why it's so crucial, because they're going to then go and tell somebody else. All right? And then that brings people to you in an authentic and in an organic way, whether you're online or you're offline. Okay, because not everybody is going to be interested in what you have. But if they go and tell their friends about it, who are the people that we trust the most? We trust our friends, the people that are around us all the time. Okay, if somebody tells you about a pair of shoes that they've bought and it's the most comfortable pair of shoes that they've ever worn, or, you know, whatever it might be, or a type of food that's the best thing in the world, or a restaurant, we're more likely to go and try those things because now somebody has told us the story behind it or given us, you know, they've told us about it. Okay, so that is the importance of a story. We are surrounded by it all the time, and so let's get into like the next part of that is crafting your story. Okay, so it doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing that you're doing. Okay, I think that, and I actually, you know, I used to get really caught up about this when my outliner or somebody that I worked with would say, what is your 30-second elevator pitch? Or what is your, you know, what is your, that you tell people when you first meet them? And it used to just paralyze me. And what was I going to tell people? What is my story? Why is my story even important to other people? Okay, and when you're starting to craft this story about yourself and your business, what's going to happen is your fears and your doubt and your insecurities are all going to start to come into play, and your ego is going to start to get into your head. And what's going to happen is now all of a sudden you're going to start telling yourself, well, why is my story important to anybody else? I don't have a great story. I don't have anything to teach anybody else or show anybody else or inspire anybody else to do. And that's all your ego going into your thought process and telling you things that really are not the truth. Okay? Because the fact of the matter is that your story matters. It matters. And, you know, you have to tell people. You have to tell people about it. You have to tell everybody about it. Because even though in your own thoughts, you think, well, my story doesn't matter. It does, because your story might help one other person or two other people, or somebody else might be able to relate to what you've been through. All right? So your story does matter. All right? So when you're starting to craft your story, I want you to start looking at all aspects, all struggles, all triumphs, all these things that you have gone through that have gotten you to the place that you are now in your business. What are all the things that you've been through to get you to where you are right now in your business? Whether you're struggling or whether you're successful, what are the things that you have been through? What are the things that you have learned? Okay? And then from there, you want to start choosing what of those things that you want to start putting into your story that would have the most impact on other people and that people are really going to love. Okay? So start looking at what has happened to get you to where you are now. And, you know, you may not have this, you know, incredible story that, you know, that you think in your own mind that is something really unique or special or big. And it doesn't have to be that way, because it's your story and you have no idea who that story is going to have an effect on. Okay, so it doesn't have to be that you've had this big crazy life, or you know, that your story is something that is so incredible. It just has to be your story. And when I'm talking about these things, you know, you're already telling this story to people as you go through your life, right? It's just that you haven't maybe made it into something that is in this tight little package that you're able to tell people really quickly, that is impactful and gets them excited or gets them thinking or gets them curious. All right, so that's what we really need to work on. So what I want you to do as your exercise for today is I want you to get a piece of paper out, and I want you to start listing I mean, literally a brain dump onto the piece of paper of all the major events that have happened in your life that have gotten you to where you are now in your business. Everything that has happened that, you know, has gotten you to where you are in your life, in your business, into you know, now maybe you're struggling, and so now you're reaching out to ask for help, or maybe you've, you know, had that success, and this is what you had to go through in order to get to that place, or this is, you know, what I had to go through to get to that aha moment, and now I'm pushing forward. Whatever it might be, I want you to literally take everything from your mind and put it onto paper, about all the things that have happened throughout your life to get you to where you are right now in your business, okay? I want you to go through then that list after you've done that, and I want you to choose the most important things in that list that you think that you can now create a story around, that is in a tight little package that you can now deliver to people in a way that is not a big, long, complicated, you know, 5-minute story. It's just something that is quick and simple and can make an impact. Okay, so, and also that can describe your brand in the best way possible. Okay, so, you know, think about when you're reading a book, or when you're watching a movie, or when you're, you know, whatever. There's a format to those things, okay? There's, you know, a way that those authors have put those together to get your attention, right? So there's an introduction, right? There's a climax. I mean, there's a rising action part of the book or the movie or whatever. And so it's creating that mystery and that suspense and what's going to happen next kind of a thing. And then you have the climax. And that's where really something major happens in that storyline. Maybe there's a big aha moment. Maybe there's a big breakthrough. You know, whatever happened to make that the climax of your story. And then it kind of goes down into you know, the summary of that, the conclusion or the resolution that you've come to get you to where you are in your business now. All right, so that is what I want you to kind of work on until we go into our next video tomorrow, is really crafting your story, because this is a big part of you being able to build a business, whether you're offline or online, really. This is a huge part of why people are going to be more attracted to you over somebody else, and why somebody might relate to you over somebody else is really the story that you have crafted. Okay, and so I want you to work on that when you have time, or really the sooner that you can work on these things, you guys, the sooner that you will start to see progress in your business. And, you know, you want to create something that your audience can really relate to, something that's in line with your business, and so it's not something completely off the wall that has nothing to do with your product or service. And you want to keep it as short as possible without leaving anything out, and you want to be as impactful and as memorable as possible. Okay? And you want it to be something that's easy for people to hear and to remember, so that then they're able to tell their friends about it. Okay? So that is day 3, is building your brand story. It is so important to your message and to building a business that this is really a crucial part of it. And I know it seems like it's something that might be a little bit difficult to do, but once you start getting all of that stuff out of your mind and onto a piece of paper, and start pulling those really important parts out, and remember, you know, there's the intro, the rising, you know, action of the climax, and then the summary of the resolution. You know, just put those pieces together and just keep it in a really short, simple explanation of your story, and something that people will remember. Okay, so that is for today. Tomorrow will be day 4, and we'll be talking about what is tomorrow. Tomorrow is branding communication, and how important it is that you know, the way that you communicate people in the online world, on whatever platform that you're using, really is so important. And it's everything that you put out there is telling somebody else about what your brand is. So we're going to get into that tomorrow, and I will see you then. Take care.